Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Nexus Gaming Series. I am Jayzon, your host for tonight's match for Modo versus Cronies here in the A's Division. And tonight I'm joined by co-caster for once. Consort has hopped in here with me. Thanks for joining me, man.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me on. Glad to come by and help cast some games.
And the cat has also decided to join the stream, but looks like we got both of our teams here in lobby. And let me just confirm that everybody is ready to go. And looks like our first map is going to be Towers of Doom. So Consort, what do you like in general on this map?
Towers of Doom is just fantastic map for comebacks. I like watching a lot of the stressful plays when you get an early game team versus a late game team. You see a big lead happen early on, but then they start to peter out, and then the score gets real close. Always makes for exciting gameplay here.
Yeah, for sure. It's never over until it's really over on Towers of Doom, because at the end of the day, you can't just run to the core and backdoor. You got to cast those altars, and I think it's really dependent on what kind of team you draft. But it's always a good opportunity to deny, go for poke, and just in general. Go for that annoyance factor to just try and deny more than anything else here. But we'll have to see. Where it looks like we got one person left here that is not quite ready, and they are going to be ready soon. Let's see. All right, looks like we got everything fixed up in the lobby, so it should be soon, guys.
And speaking of delay on Towers of Doom, I'm seeing a lot of Chromie portraits just sitting here in the lobby, and that, the queen of delay on Towers of Doom, just sit in your fort, and they cannot touch the altar on your side as long as you feel like poking at them. So that's already got me a little excited for what we're gonna see.
Makes sense. Actually, now that you mention it, I have the teams on the wrong side, so I guess while we're waiting, we'll go ahead and swap these. Actually, we'll just swap them on screen. That works better. Okay. So it looks like everybody's ready to go, and we will get this started. All right. Towers of Doom. Best of 2 series here between Cronies, and Modo.
Definitely interested to see what the ban priorities are going to be here. There's a lot of ways to play this map, again, because of the dynamics of not being able to just push for core, having to take those altars, contest, delay, trying to push lanes, get forts back. So a lot of different strategies, and that means a lot of different ban priorities.
Yeah, and oh man. Yeah, I think we got the wrong first pick team. Bummer. Alright, well, let's just go ahead and get this reset then for these guys. My bad. Alright. That's alright. We can fix that pretty quick. But yeah.
At least that's an easy one to fix.
Sorry about the problems here, ladies and gentlemen. We'll get this rolling for you in just a moment. Should be as easy as popping me back into lobby once I get my client started back up. But yeah, there's a lot of different strategies to go with on Towers of Doom. A lot of people prioritize the globals. Me personally, I like to prioritize the wave clear and the siege a lot here, because if you're able to control and rotate around in the bell towers game, then it can be one of the biggest advantages here on Towers of Doom. But at the end of the day, it comes down to team fighting. If you don't have a good team fight team, then you're just not going to really be able to fight over these altars, which really is what matters the most is being able to capture these altars.
Absolutely, absolutely. And the rotations definitely count. Nothing is worse than trying to get to a shrine at the last minute and being mounted, walking your way up there and getting nailed by a minion on the way up and having it delay you from getting that crucial delay to get that trip over to your altar over to your team.
Those damn troll archer minions, man, I swear, every time. You know, at least there are no catapults on this one with, like, the infinite visibility range.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and don't even get me started on the ranged minions, man. I had a game today I actually lost because I was trying to capture an altar on this map, and the ranged minion, I swear to you, followed me about 40 feet into the jungle to sit there and ping me and stop me from taking the altar as Uther.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. They'll follow you around now. It's crazy. I think they didn't used to do that. All right.
Yeah, I feel like they do now more often.
All right, so now I am no longer the lobby host. I think you're the lobby host now.
Oh, okay. I think I know how to fix that.
So yeah, we gotta go to team.
There we go.
Oh, there we go. All right. Yeah, it looks like, yeah, because I swapped the teams, I forgot to swap who was picking first from where I originally set it out. So that's, yeah. All right, so I think we're good. Get this underway here for the Nexus Gaming Series. Will be Towers of Doom once again, but this time with blue team starting out the first picks, first ban. So what do you like to prioritize the most here in terms of heroes right now?
Man, like, it really depends on if I'm in Coordinated or Hero League or, you know, Unranked Draft. If I'm in Hero League, I just get rid of the Chromie here. You know, I don't always see her on this map, but anytime I do have to deal with a Chromie on the enemy team on this map, it always ends in disaster because your team will just sit there and get pinged to death on it. Coordinated play, though, I think I agree with that Genji ban for sure.
Yeah, I like the Genji ban here. You know, he's very annoying as a poke and denial hero, but he's also very mobile. You know, he's not quite a global hero, but the way he's able to quickly rotate and has the extra dash range, he might as well be. You know, he can get from that top bell tower very quickly to the mid and be able to contest when we have those three that are up in the first and fifth iterations of the map objective. So right away, the Shimada brothers are banned out, and we've been seeing a lot of that lately.
Yeah, I mean, both of them are fairly powerful, just going into the current meta, and especially on this map, both of them are fairly efficient at denying the altars, doing a lot of delaying, as we've been talking about, and they both have good team fight, good damage output, just all around good bans for the first ban for this map.
Yeah, and Lucio coming out at the beginning, not a big surprise there from Cronies. They have quite a lot of extra sustain that they'll be able to have, you know, from that. And just in general, again, Lucio is a good rotation tool. He is able to speed your team up and get them to where you want to go more quickly. And, you know, he's not terrible in terms of the interrupt. He does have a ranged basic attack that can be used, and he can also quickly dash in and dash out of trouble before the enemy team really knows how to respond a lot of the time.
Absolutely, not to mention just being a generally good healer for any composition.
Yeah.
And for the response pick, we're seeing Greymane and Dahaka get picked up. Greymane, again, just like he's the multi-purpose DPS nowadays. He fits into everything. He's great damage. He can poke range. He can jump in and burst things out. And Dahaka, great for the side soak, keeping the EXP going, especially when, you know, bot altar is up. You can just soak the XP up top until the fight breaks out, burrow down, and be right there in the fight.
Yeah, and, you know, definitely two strong heroes in the meta in general. I think Dahaka's fallen off a little bit. They hit him with the nerf bat a while back, so he's not quite as strong as a team fighter, but you can't overstate the global. There's a lot of good, well-positioned bushes on this map for him to be able to come in from all sorts of angles. And of course, Greymane, a good counter to Lucio in the spike damage. Just in general, he's very bursty in terms of how his damage comes in. It's very easily targetable on one target that you're trying to focus, and that can make it tough for Lucio to save somebody.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I mean, Lucio's more of a sustained healing character overall, so burst damage is kind of his failing point, with the exception of when Sound Barrier is up. But
Yeah.
even then, Sound Barrier's got a decent cooldown to it. You can only save someone with that every so often.
Yeah, so right away we see the ETC and the Li Ming. So not opting to go with the Chromie here as their range damage, but instead picking the Li Ming, who's very reset-centric, usually paired with one of the other reset heroes like Greymane or Genji. Now, with both of them denied, it's just going to be kind of the naked Li Ming reset idea. But ETC, a good pick to start that off with really nice ability to set up for kills. And Lucio, of course, also able to help Ming get in good positions with that extra speed to be able to get her combos out on the right targets.
For sure, and not to mention long-range spell damage for Poke, the same way Chromie is as far as delaying tributes and things like that. Has a harder time getting spells around things, so tanks can stand in the way, but there's still a lot to be said for being able to throw spells large distances. And on bans for Modo, we have the Malthael ban, and for Chromie's Cronies, the Stukov ban. The Malthael ban, always he's a solid ban if you're looking to control the solo lane, especially if you're running Dahaka. That's the lane you don't want to be dealing with Dahaka. You can lose that lane pretty hard. And Stukov, another great, delay-centric hero for this map. A lot of range with the arm build, able to delay tribs and lock down heroes for team fights.
Yeah, one of the best parts that I like about Stukov on a map like this is his ability to deny entrances and exits for a lot of these altar phases. So I like that ban out. If you don't have an incredibly mobile team that can quickly run over that point, then he can be quite a lot of trouble. They do have the Lucio to try and help them with that, but they're just going to opt out of it. And in general, I think there's two healers that are just kind of above the rest right now in the meta, and that's Stukov and Lucio. There's been some talk about the new Malf, though, as we see it come out here for the side of Modo. Very good sustained healing, a very good ranged poke, which are two of the things you look for on this map, and just in general, good sustain. So I really like these picks coming out right now from Modo. They just need one more solid frontline tank, and I kind of like their comp here.
Yeah, it's looking good. It's definitely looking good. Lunara, a lot of people say Lunara's not as great into Lucio because his sustained healing deals with the poisons pretty well. But at the same time, Modo happens to have a very good Lunara player, and there's still a lot of ways around, just having the poison damage being negated by Lucio. You can still overwhelm him with the damage over time, and with Greymane there to keep up that high DPS on single targets, it can still overwhelm this healing for sure.
Yeah, and I think a lot of what they can do is try and use that Lunara also to be able to set up for the Malfruits. And if you wear somebody down, Greymane can be really good for finishing them off. But we're seeing an Alarak come in, kind of an unconventional pick, but pretty solid because he does have that ranged poke ability, and also good follow-up and burst to be able to try to enable the Ming and her resets here. So if he can hit those combos out, especially with the Vala and the Ming, very high damage comp to pair with the ETC setup. This could be very scary coming out from Chromie's Cronies here.
Yeah, and I'm actually really hyped to see the Alarak pick here. It's not a hero I see picked a lot on this map, so I'm definitely excited to see what they have planned. Alarak can be a really powerful hero and really make some plays, especially if he starts getting that sadism trait stacked and getting that bonus ability damage. I'm also interested to see what Modo takes for their main tank. That is the role they're missing right now. ETC is off the board, but that's the only main tank character that isn't available right now, so we'll see what they opt into.
Yeah, so we've got the Muradin still available. Diablo is still an option. And I think the reworked Tyrael is live today, but it is going to be the Diablo. So he got a very big strength boost when they changed the regen globes recently, which was knocked back a little bit when they changed it a second time, but still I feel like it's very powerful with that level 1 talent. It's really good sustained here, especially if he wants to go tap a well right before he goes and fights over in a shrine area. So we'll have to see how this works out for them, but it is there is a lot of good terrain, including the altar. The little altar points themselves can be used as terrain for Diablo to charge into here.
Yeah, altar points, the areas surrounding the altars make Diablo very dangerous. A lot of terrain in a lot of different directions gives a lot of options to slam people into walls. And that's what Diablo wants to be doing, is just smacking people into the walls, getting that bonus damage, getting that extra stun out for an APOC, you know, get the big stun on one target and possibly smaller stuns elsewhere. Definitely a very threatening hero here.
Yeah, and in general, it's a good combo also with the Malf. You know, the Diablo flip into Malf roots is something we've seen a lot of people do. So let's see if that works out for Modo here. But we are loading in to Towers of Doom on the left. Your blue team for this match, it is going to be Chromie's Cronies with Dragon King on the ETC. Obsidian is going to be on the Alarak. Gregornaut is going to be on Vala. Kathazia is going to be on the Lucio, and Cordona is going to be on the Li Ming.
10 seconds.
Would you like the honor?
Red from Modo. We have Savo on Malfurion, Bronkar on Greymane, Waits on Dahaka, Enigmatic on Lunara, and King Dingo on Diablo.
All right. The king of all the dingoes walking on into the mid here, ready to charge somebody. Dragon King does get hit by that fire wave there from the Diablo. And right away, both these teams gonna seem like they're more focused on being around to clear the wave. Dahaka instantly rotating to top. We'll see Alarak do the same. That will be your solo lane in the top. And I kind of like the rotational advantage that Lucio gives over to the side of Chromie's Cronies. But we do see the side of Modo rotating early to try and make up for that. Ooh, Enigmatic got to be careful there. We'll be able to rotate down. It does have that extra speed from the constant Lunara walking speed that she has on the trait. But ultimately, they're going to have to be careful. It looks like the side of Chromie's Cronies are looking to rotate through here and look for picks and ganks as they do so. Meanwhile, in the top lane, just not a whole lot of advantage gained by either one of these two at the beginning here.
Hey, apologies, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
My microphone has been acting up for a moment there, but I think I've got it fixed. Sorry about that.
That is okay. I was starting to wonder. But glad. So, what do you think right now for both of these teams? We see the Sappers taken here in the bottom early. Good camp priority. But looks like both teams are going to be prioritizing down here to see if they can push any of these in.
Yeah, both teams keeping their DPS and healers down here to deal with these Sapper camps, leaving the tanks to soak mid. Bot is the priority lane for this map, so it's not surprising. Both teams want to try to get lane position down here so they can later push in Sappers and have good position for the neutral tributes down here.
Yeah, it's a huge advantage if you can hold the bot lane. At the end of the day, it does feed into that bottom altar area, and so having it down could be a really big advantage. And they will actually, for the side of Modo, be able to push one of those Sappers on into the wall, so that's going to be a good solid chunk of damage going down. And right away, we will see this triple altar phase activating. So we'll have to see how these two teams decide to split here as Diablo rotates up, maybe looking for a little gank, but Obsidian playing smart and not making too big of a risk out of this early.
Yeah, both teams starting to gather in mid, so we'll see in a moment who prioritizes the neutral shine more, or if anyone tries to make an invade. A little bit of a skirmish going on here in mid while we wait for the altars to come up, but they will be up here in just a moment.
So right away we get Enigmatic casting there, and he is going to instantly be able to get that bottom altar spawned. Obsidian going to come in with the telekinesis to get that interrupt, but we will see the charge in onto him and the drag to follow it up, getting him down to half health, but ultimately the damage not in a position to follow up there as Gregornaut's going to start casting here. They're trying to get themselves one more of these to start off here since they missed out on the bottom. They've gone over to try and contest the one on Modo's side.
Yeah, and definitely they noticed they missed out on the neutral shrine, so they're trying to go for their opponents and put themselves in a little bit of an awkward position trying to get it just because they were continually delayed, hovering towards their opponent's side of the map and in this area where they can get hit from 2 angles, and ultimately ended up costing them a hero and having them get pushed out. That'll leave the health count to 32 to 36 in Modo's favor.
Early lead here for them. Definitely something that the side of Chromie's Cronies can recover from, but it's not how you want to start out the match. Right now, XP pretty much even on both sides. Both teams splitting back out to lane to start the soak. And yeah, it was just a nice punish there by Modo. They had a really nice positioning on that. And you know, you gotta think maybe Chromie's Cronies could have been a little bit less aggro on that. But speaking of aggro, here comes the wait. Dragon King will peel a little bit with the slide, but the full invade is coming here from Modo, and they're going to push them straight out of here. And that Lunara poison damage seeming to hurt there. Brookar barely missing the cocktail that could have maybe finished off the Lucio, but very nice invade. Very nice play here from Modo.
Yeah, and a good call too. They held off on starting their own sapper until they had vision on the opponent to see if they could make the invade. If they had started their own and tried to burn it down and then started thinking about the invade, they wouldn't have been able to set up that opportunity. So good priorities and good vision control.
And another gank attempt here. Obsidian is going to have to try to find his way around this, but he's got Diablo and Dahaka to try and contend with. So right now it just looks like he's more trying to waste time than try and juke his way out of this one. And the charge actually going to go in, but Vala going down on the bottom end. So right now, everything coming up Modo as we start to head towards the second altar phase here in the top. So it looks like both teams are going to start to look to rotate in that direction right away. Chromie's Cronies sending Dragon King up to cast on his size, but King Dingo not going to let him do that for free. We'll be able to hit him with that Fire Stomp, and for now, well, it looks like that might be it. The positioning is there. Level 10 not here yet for Modo, so they're going to wisely back up and just keep their lead and start to work towards that 10.
Yeah, you could see that there was the potential for an invade there. They might have wanted to go in and try to invade that altar, but with 10 so close and having that advantage by about a level and a half when they get there, it really was just a safer play that to just wait for ultimates and be able to push that advantage later on.
Yeah, and they've been doing a really nice job of taking advantage where they've really known that they could get something out of it. But it's also important for them to just, you know, like you said, look at this level 10 situation and just, you know, live to fight another day. But big rotation coming in here on Obsidian. Will telekinesis himself right into the middle of that root. The charge in and the cutoff. Nice body blocks there. That'll be another pick now. 5-0 as we head in towards this mid game. And Modo gonna try to net themselves a boss with this level 10 advantage.
Yeah, and 5-0 kills wise, a little bit ahead on the core health, but still early in this game. And again, this is a map that is famous for comebacks, famous for those 1 core health defenses where people rally and get that come from behind victory. So anything can still happen going into this game.
Yeah, you're right. I think Chromie's Cronies at this point, they just need to calm down, get back towards that level 10. Gotta be a little wary here on the rotation. Dragon King will see this coming and is going to be maybe able to back out. Actually, the root is going to come down. APOC burned, and I take it back. Dragon King hanging around too long in that bush, looking to maybe slow the rotation, and he is going to pay the devil's due here to King Dingo.
Lay claim to the altars. Do not.
Yeah, definitely always want vision control on these bushes from the north side when you're trying to take this neutral altar, but Modo was able to scout that out and turn it into a punish just so they could get the tank off the board and secure the altar for themselves.
Yeah, very nice macro play coming in so far from Modo. You know, when they need to get these ganks and they're trying to get these kills, they've been rotating together. They haven't been allowing their heroes to be caught out alone like we've seen a couple of times here from Chromie's Cronies, and just in general, they've just been playing the map very well. You can tell that that this is definitely, you know, their map pick, and that's what they were looking to do with this game.
Definitely. And On the side of talent picks and ultimate choices, I'd like to point out Li Ming has gone Wave of Force this game. A little more on the burst side than a Disintegrate pick would have been, but also important to have a ranged interrupt for Twilight Dream in case that Twilight is about to get popped and there's no one in range to get the shorter range interrupts from ETC or from Lucio.
Speaking of Lucio, the sound barrier coming out here. I think they were trying to secure a kill there on Enigmatic, which makes it even more of a bummer that it was popped there, because no pick for them. And all of a sudden, we are going to see both teams rotating back out, and every lane pretty well pushed out here by Modo. They're going to get this camp in the top, and then we're going to see the altars here in these bottom two phases. Nobody really pushing too hard on the structures, but nice camp invade from Modo, and yet again, they're just showing that they have a really good understanding of the map pressure here and good control over the rotation game.
For sure, for sure. And this altar phase is already not looking great for Chromie's Cronies. They're going to have one sound barrier down for still about 25-ish seconds as these altars come up, with all altars available on the other side of the board, leaving them without that burst protection for what Modo's comp is capable of.
Yeah, right away we're going to see Lunara casting in the bottom. Nice poke here for the side of Modo. They are going to actually be a little bit too late on the APOC to interrupt, so we will see Chromie's Cronies get the altar activated, but meanwhile the team fight is coming in, and the side of Modo is going in deep. We will see the 3-man turned into a 4-man mosh pit, allowing Juggernaut to get the finishing blow there on Diablo, which will reset his stacks. But meanwhile, they're trying to get their members out. Juggernaut is going to end up dying to poison here, as is the Vala. So both heroes, or the ETC, both heroes going down here. And that's going to be a 4-for-1 trade by the time the whole thing is over here.
Yeah, and that is just heartbreaking. Nothing is worse than watching your teammate safely get behind a fort just to watch the poison damage tick down and kill him. But they weren't quite able to get out before that poison damage got out of control.
Yeah, and they were smart by taking out the Lucio early in that process, not allowing him to speed them out or heal them up from that poison damage. So again, good understanding not only now of the map, but also of these team comps and what they really need to do to be able to be successful in these team fights for Modo as well.
Definitely, and you see Modo prioritizing on getting camps back on the board. Now that they have this bottom altar, they can either think about pushing this camp in to get more shots on core, or they can just use it as pressure and keep a member of Chromie's Cronies down here while the altar phase comes up and give them a 4v5 on whatever altars they choose to take.
It's a really rough moment in the game for Chromie's Cronies, as they're not able to really contest in this bottom area. So they are probably going to lose 3 shots to the sappers that are marching down this bottom lane. We also see the side of Modo, again, a great macro call. They're going to capture this other down here. They're going to go ahead and capture the bottom bell tower, which will give them 5 of these shots. And they give up the 2 in top, but that's only 6 points going over to Chromie's Cronies. So just like that, they come out with a very, very good result once again, but they didn't want to take that fight because they didn't have level 16. No advantage there.
Absolutely, and on top of that, with the bell tower advantage, it could end up even being more shots on the board in the long run for them if these sappers get pushed in, just because they have the extra tower advantage to get the shot, plus 3 shots for each camp of sappers that goes in. But it looks like the second camp of sappers will get stopped before they're able to put shots on the board.
Yeah, so overall they end up with the 8 shots for the side of Modo and just the 6 here for Chromie's Cronies. So still a good call. 8 left on the health here. So the side of Chromie's Cronies is going to have to try and do something here. It looks like right now Modo's waiting for somebody to get out of position. They are slowly poking down, trying to use the Lunara poke and the cocktail to deal some damage and try and keep this bell tower down here their own. But Dragon King will slide in, gets hit by the root and the APOC, and gets completely blown up here. And right now the side of Chromie's Cronies is going to have to back up and try to live to fight another day.
And you can definitely see the threat coming out in this blow-up they've got going. Stun, charge stun into APOC, Cursed Bullet for the percentage damage, and then just blow up with everything else Greymane is possible of. They're just taking ETC off the board ASAP. It's just more than one tank can deal with up front without a, sound barrier pop almost immediately.
Right, and especially the sustained healing here. And, ETC has a little bit of armor, but not quite enough here. But Boss has been started here. Obsidian completely whiffing there on the counter-strike. And right now it looks like Modo's just trying to stall this out. Maybe trying to lease the Boss, but they are going to finally charge back in after the side of Cronies has taken some damage off of it. But it will be captured here by Modo off of that charge. So right away, 4 shots going. 4 left. Dahaka will brush stock to the bottom and capture this bottom altar. And just like that, GG! Modo taking game 1 here on their map of choice, Towers of Doom.
And Modo definitely showing why it's their map of choice. Just excellent understanding of the map, excellent understanding of where to be when to give up altars, you know, patience, waiting for those level advantages. Very strong showing.
Yeah, good draft for them, good execution, especially in the macro game, and yeah, really impressive. Making a name for themselves here on Towers of Doom. We'll have to see what they can do when we flip the script and go to Cronies map choice here, which is going to be the Cursed Hollow. And we will get that set up for you guys here in just a couple of moments. Let me go ahead and pop us back here. So what would you like to see in game number 2 here from Cronies in terms of trying to make adjustments for this next map?
It's hard to say. I think what they definitely might want to consider is something a little more reliable for getting people out of that kind of blow up. If that style of blow up gets run again, maybe a cleanse to pull out of the CC, or some kind of, you know, point and click, save this target kind of ultimate ready to go. And also maybe just a little more awareness on map rotations and especially camp timings. Invades aren't going to be as common on camps in Cursed Hollow, so that will work in their favor, but still something to keep an eye out on, because there were 1 or 2 invades during that Altars match, that Towers of Doom match, that were very costly for Cronies.
Yeah, that's something that they definitely want to avoid. Kind of a similar map mechanic in Cursed Hollow, in the way that we see these kind of random spawns of the tributes. Of course, it definitely is more of a conventional MOBA map, so I would expect to see a little bit different strategies coming out, certainly in draft from these 2 teams. But we'll see what these teams have in store for us this time around.
Yeah, definitely excited to see what we do here compositionally. Cursed Hollow, obviously a much more conducive map for global play, so I expect to see definitely the Dahaka again if he's not banned, and possibly a few other globals, maybe Brightwing coming in. A lot of options for map manipulation here.
Yeah, there's definitely globals are always a huge priority here. And definitely something that both of these teams are going to want to consider. We saw the Dahaka come out last game from Modo, and they used that and the global pressure stunningly well. It feels like every time they used that brush stock, you know, it was to gain a pretty huge advantage in the game and get themselves a big numbers advantage when they're invading or looking for, you know, a far away altar cast, but they used it very well there.
Definitely. And Dahaka, one of those heroes that's just scary on any map, and only gets scarier the bigger the map gets, just because of his ability to come in from anywhere. And, you know, the larger the map is, the farther away your teammates are from being able to bail you out if Dahaka turns an even situation into an uneven situation.
So it looks like we got a question in from Saifu CG. How's the new mouth? So I've actually played a pretty fair amount of the new Malfurion, including, actually, I think we've played in our 3 NGS matches. I think I've played him in 4 games, so we've played more than half with the mouth since the changes. But I think he's very strong in certain niche situations. I think that he's a little bit more of a win-more hero now. I think he's kind of hard to play from behind because of the nature of his healing and the fact that it's harder to save people, but it's a lot easier to keep people topped off and ready to fight through less significant damage. And then it's easy. I really like the root talent being moved from 16 to 4. I felt like the expanding and longer lasting roots at 16 was it was a big power spike at 16, and now that power spike is at 4. So I think it's a little bit broken, if you ask me. But hopefully they'll leave it in there because Mouth needs something to be good with, and he's still influential if the roots are good and the utility's good.
Yeah, I also feel like he's definitely a little less multi-purpose than he has been, but still powerful in the right situations. And having the expanded roots on 4 is a great help. One, because having that power spike early, as you mentioned, is great. Having the bigger roots, the longer roots is always good. And 2, my Hero League partners will stop taking broccoli because I'm tired of seeing broccoli. Aha.
So it looks like I actually had it wrong in the map choices. We are not going to Cursed Hollow. It is actually Infernal Shrines. So that is my bad. We're gonna reset this up real quick. Get everybody back into the correct lobby. And should be starting in just a few minutes here. Look like both of our teams sent a couple people out to bio, but it looks like most of them were back. I can just let's find our 2 captains here in NGS, and then we'll be off to the races. But I take it back. We're going to Infernal Shrines. All about wave clear and point control. And follow up to the Punisher's not bad.
Absolutely, and this is actually one of my personal favorites because the difficulty of the Punisher once it's taken, or the strength of the Punisher once it's taken, it's just powerful enough that it's good to be pushed with, and it's good to be defending it, but not so powerful that's the only strategy. And sometimes it is a better call to let the Punisher do its own thing, or only send a hero or 2 with it, get some split XP. On the defense, sometimes it is better to only send a few defenders, get some split XP, or push a fort somewhere. Merc camps also stay on the board while Punisher is up, so you can be trying to get lane control in other lanes while you defend, or while you let the Punisher do push a fort. A lot of different ways to approach this.
So we got we've got the side of Modo in here. See if we can get Chromie's Cronies on over. There we go. 2. All right. Yeah, I really like a lot. I think the map changes when they incorporated the new 2008 rules, and it did a lot of the play adjustments in terms of the timers. I think that affected this map as many as any with Infernal Shrines. I think having the Punisher be a little bit later in the game makes that first Punisher, it gives it a little bit more teeth, makes it a little bit more scary to try to ignore it in the early game. And just in general, I think the double support meta going away has opened us up to some interesting new strategies. Even some old strategies that we've seen before, but we've seen Sylvanas comps come back and be a little bit more viable because you can't just sustain through a lot of those tough sieges and such. So it'll be interesting to see as we see more and more teams playing on Infernal Shrines how these strategies develop here with these changes.
For sure. And the Merc changes too, big. Mercs have always been pretty big on this map, especially the Shaman camp in the upper right, but even the Khazras on the mid and bot, still big for getting lane pressure back here. Merc timing changes, and even just the, tower changes to minion health, minion damage, tower damage. It has totally changed a lot of the flow of this map. I think we're still seeing strategies start to solidify here.
Yeah, I think we've started to see some of it for sure. By the way, thank you to Bahamut for the host. Much appreciated, my friend. Welcome everybody from over in his stream. Also, we had Enigmatic Hots with the follow. Thank you very much. Right here in our own match, but right away we got Infernal Shrines here for map number 2, and again the Shimada brothers, they're just out. So which Overwatch hero is next is all we got to wonder about.
Oh yeah, and again, you know, both of those heroes really strong on really particularly any map. They're just both powerful and serious problems for a lot of comps, and we see the Greymane pick one again, fits into every composition. Always a good pick in maybe, you know, anything they want to go into after this is still Greymane will fit into.
Yeah, so right away, it's a very scary combo coming out here from Chromie's Cronies, the Lucio and the Arthas. So the speed to be able to help Arthas catch up with some of the members of Modo here, and then of course Arthas forever keeping them in that slow. Also a very good counter to Greymane, so right away Chromie's Cronies coming out with a strong start to this draft.
Definitely, and Arthas Lucio is just one of those power combos that you worry about a little bit. Arthas is a very strong tank. Only real disadvantage he's got going for him is the lack of an engage or a movement option to get him on top of people. Pairing him with Lucio gives him that option. Just give him the speed boost, get him in there, and boom, you've got slows on people. Their auto attacks are being slowed, they have trouble getting out, and you've immediately got a problem you need to address before you can hope to see any success in the team fight.
Yeah, we got Dahaka and Stukov coming out here. So, again, the side of Modo showing that they're looking a little bit more for the global and the macro. Stukov also a very strong pick here. Stronger for sure than on towers with his deniability of those different entrances for these shrine areas with that lurking arm. So. And just in general, you know, he's got good solid healing right now against Stukov and Lucio, going back and forth with, you know, kind of the best heals in the game. So I like that pickup here from Modo. It kind of gets them a healer before this next ban phase and prevents Chromie's Cronies from being able to apply a chokehold here on the healer with this next ban.
Yeah, and it'll be. I want to see. We have the Anubarak ban going on the board, so. That says to me there's something they want to get out that has possibly an ultimate with the timer on it. They don't want to get cocooned, or some kind of critical hero that's about to come in later in the draft that they especially don't want to get cocooned. That's usually the reason I find for the Anubarak ban. So definitely looking forward to see what comes out in the draft later for that.
Yeah, Malthael comes to mind right off the bat in terms of heroes that you want to play, but you don't want to see web wrapped. So that's why we see the hover and the ultimate ban here from Modo. So good understanding of these draft mechanics, and I like that denial with the Haka already picked up. You know they're going to pick up another main tank. They played Diablo very well last game, who is very susceptible to the to that Malthael, and so. Chromie's Cronies are probably we're looking for that, but are not going to get it here. We'll have to see what they decide to actually pick up. They've got these 2 picks ready.
Yeah, and the Malthael ban on its face, definitely a great ban, because again, that would be, you know, the hero you'd be thinking about. You don't want to get web wrapped. Tormented Souls gets popped, immediately gets answered with web wrap, and Malthael's down on ulti when his biggest contribution to the fight is that Tormented Souls. I almost have to wonder if that was something else they were looking for. They didn't want web wrap though, because I feel like the Anubarak ban would definitely have telegraphed the Malthael pick. So I'm almost wondering if there's another option we're going to be seeing that was really the source of the we don't want to get web wrapped Anubarak ban.
Yeah, so now they're going to go ahead and prioritize wave clear. And then the ability to aid that Immortal push. We've seen Sylvanas come out. We've seen her being banned out a little bit more often in the game, so she seems to be returning to the meta, if not in higher competitive play, at least, you know, in amateur competitive play. And of course, Kael'thas, very good wave clear here, very good spread damage that, in some ways does counter Stukov in the fact that he wants his team to group up a little bit to be able to spread his viruses, to be able to heal the whole team. But just in general, Kael'thas, an amazing wave clear pick. And his lack of mobility is made up for a lot by that Lucio pick on the back end.
Tremble before me.
And it looks like we have the Diablo pick locked in and Lunara again. This is a combo that we saw, the Diablo and the Greymane. This is actually very similar, almost exactly the same as the comp they ran last match, the only exception being the Stukov in place of the Malfurion. So I'm expecting we're going to see a similar strategy as well, at least when it comes to team fights. And Chromies has locked in Zagara as their 5th pick. A lot of specialists and wave clear focus on the side of Cronies. They're definitely looking to play the map more and probably not contest the objective as hard compared to trying to get value elsewhere.
Yeah, that's a very surprising pick. You know, I almost don't treat Sylvanas as a specialist anymore, you know, in terms of how I think of her in the game. I think that, you know, she's got a lot of damage. You know, it's almost Lunara levels of spread damage in terms of how her poison works and how her damage spreads.
New follower detected.
And thank you for the follow, Big Wiz. Much appreciated. Also, the host from Ghost Dunk. Welcome, everybody. Coming from probably yet another NGS match tonight. But just in general, it's surprising. It's a lot of backline damage. Arthas is going to be kind of on an island alone in that front line. So I kind of worry with the abilities for Modo to be able to try to burst him down and then just get to the squishy center of the side of Cronies this game. They're going to have to position really well here.
Prepare yourselves for battle.
All right, so we are loading in here onto Infernal Shrines. Cronies, going to be your team on the left, looking to make this a draw and get themselves a point here. Obsidian, going to be playing the Zagara. Cordona, going to be on the Kael'thas. Dragon King on the Arthas. Gregornaut, going to be on the Sylvanas. And Kathazia is going to be on the Lucio.
And on the right, for Modo, we have Bronkar on the Greymane, Sava on Stukov, King Dingo on Diablo, Wait on Dahaka, and Enigmatic on Lunara.
Now, like I said, a very similar comp. Save the healer for the side of Modo, so they probably liked a lot of what they saw. Meanwhile, we will see the bottom lane being prioritized here for the Sylvanas. She's instant rotation here from 3 members of Modo to be able to pressure them back, but they will get about 3/4 of that bottom tower down, and we see the beginning of what I think Cronies is hoping will be a rotation-based macro game for them here.
Yeah, that definitely looks to be the plan. They're not looking to be as strong in team fights with what they're running. They would just want to control the map, control the board, get advantage when Infernal's shrines are up or when Punishers are on the board. But in the meantime, they're not going to be able to team fight their opponents. They need to rely more on bat pressure, clearing waves, and just dominating the map.
Yeah, Enigmatic taking a ton of poke there, but I think it's worth noting here, in the mid lane, they left Brokar here alone. Not only did he get the entire wave, he pushed that wave in a full denial of that minion wave for Cronies, and actually got about as much damage on the front wall as the entire rotation of Cronies did in the bot lane.
Yeah, and in top lane, we have a gank set up looking for Zagara, Enigmatic, and Wait, looking for that jump. Not quite getting her, pulling about half a health bar off, but still pressuring her back to tap and putting a lot of pressure on this top lane, which is going to force Cronies to reevaluate their plan on how they want to control this macro.
Yeah, the ultimate lane bully in the Zagara, but very early camp priority here for the side of Cronies. They will send Lucio and 2 of their damage dealers out here. Of course, Gregornaut on that Sylvanas going to be able to shut down the camp and make it very safe to be able to capture that, save a invasion from Modo. But both teams thinking similarly here. They're going to go ahead and capture on each side, and they will go ahead and probably meet in the middle here to try and see who can wave clear this out the best.
New follower detected.
Yeah, and in the battle of wave clear, Cronies definitely will win in that department as long as they don't get picked off in the process. They have a lot better minion damage, a lot better wave clear. You can see here they're already getting rid of the opponent's Cosra camp and pushing their camp up onto the shrine. And Mercenary Queen as well to get extra value out of these Cosra camps, get extra structure damage on. That's going to be big when they're escorting minions and mercenaries while Infernals are up.
Yeah, it's going to deal a lot of extra damage. It's going to allow her to pick up these camps a little bit quicker when she does decide to split, which I wouldn't be surprised if they are on the way to the bottom to try and take this bottom camp. But we will see the shrine activating in the top, so neither team deciding to rotate here. And I like this call from Modo. They're not just going to leave Chromie's Cronies out in lane to push uncontested. They do prioritize 3 up here. They are going to look for the gank on Obsidian. He'll be able to make it out having that faster walk speed on Creep. But we'll have to see how this works out because they're getting a lot of advantage down here in bottom in this 2v4. We will see them starting to push in with the Black Arrow, being able to shut down the fort for now. They will back up, but they're catching Enigmatic out here. They slow him down a little bit, get him down to about a 3rd health before they back off.
Yeah, and that rotation was good. For a while there, they only had Diablo and Stukov there to defend that push. Didn't leave them with a lot of options for the defense, but rotating Lunara down, rotating Greymane down, gave them that damage they needed to pressure them out of that lane. Meanwhile, leaving Dahaka to try to duel it out with Zagara for control of that altar up top.
Well, we will see both teams scrimmaging here as they try to rotate up. The stun coming in onto Dragon King, and he is going to be the first to fall here. A little bit of spread of those KT bombs, but nothing that Savo can't heal up here in a hot second with these pustules. And the charge in from King Dingo, ruining Obsidian in this top lane. And King Dingo, man, earning himself a name on this Diablo. Oh, Greymane actually falling in the bottom as well. So this game is all over the place right now.
Yeah, and while they did get the 2 heroes killed up in top lane, they're giving up a lot of 4 health down here to the Sylvanas push. They're coming down to answer it now. Diablo with a charge on Kael'thas. He's going to try to slip through this hallway. Will he make it?
No, the cutoff here from Savo. Literally body blocked in by weight. And that's not going to work out. Kael'thas will go down. But here's the good news. Actually, as I realize, I haven't been putting up the talents this whole time. My bad, guys. But the talents, it was indeed the Mana Addict instead of the Convection here. So no reset on that talent. He'll continue to get globes and work his way towards 20. So right now we will see the Punisher being picked up here in the top lane by Modo. So they're going to be able to try and push with this, 5-minute Punisher. Still not super strong, but something you don't really want to ignore here, as we will see Chromie's Cronies rotating up, baited over the wall, but actually focusing onto Cordona. It's kind of a dangerous target for it, but they will be able to bait it back and get the kill. Front wall taken here by Modo.
Yeah, and they do have some decent damage to be able to burn that Immortal down quickly. Barb shot in particular, good damage for melting those Immortals. In the meantime, you can see Modo, now that the Immortal's down, Modo has a lot of their damage focused down on the mid and bot lanes, trying to just get Merc camps on the board, pressure these lanes, deny resources that Chromie's Cronies can use to try to play their macro game later on.
Yeah, nice rotation here to the bottom by Modo, making sure that they're constantly keeping Obsidian honest here. If you leave a Zagara alone in lane, or you even just leave it in a 1v1, it can get ugly over the long haul. So I'm really impressed with Modo and their ability to rotate around and constantly keep pressure on the Zag and really answer to this overall comp, which seems to be mostly focused on the wave clear and the siege potential. But well, Enigmatic getting in here after Dragon King. We will see the Cursed Bullet come out and the charge over the wall from King Dingo. Yet again, cutting them off, getting themselves a pick, setting up really well for his team to be able to get these kills.
Definitely, and you can see another similarity to the previous game. Modo focusing on just taking care of the tank first. Cursed Bullet into some blow up from Greymane, some damage from Lunara, and no reason to start pressuring the backline until the tank is down if you can just melt the tank right away, right?
Right, Sylvanas also getting caught out here, as we will see the camp being invaded and picked up here by Modo, so they're going to be able to take a little bit of an extra advantage off of this. APOC coming out, actually missing the combo with King Dingo there, trying to hit it onto Kathazia, but we'll be able to walk away. Lucio healing, going to bring him back up eventually, but we will see the top fort falling here for Modo. As in the bottom lane, Zagara continues to pressure, has done some serious work on that bottom fort, but hasn't quite gotten it down yet. Wait doing a nice job of at least keeping it in the game for now.
Modo rotating onto their Shaman camp, trying to get these this push on the board. Shaman's obnoxious to deal with because they will not die on their own. You will have to go address them, and if that's happening as shrines are coming up, that's a lot of distraction you've got to deal with before you can devote full 5 to the shrine.
Oh, trust me, if you think they're annoying now, just wait until you put a 20-second hot on it from Malfurion to walk down the lane with. Just saying. You can still do that.
That is just the worst.
We will see Obsidian actually getting caught out once again. Just incredible rotations here. Obsidian not quite seeing it, despite having quite a lot of creep around to be able to try and give him the hint. But we will see both teams picking up their level 10s here. It is going to be Cursed Bullet, Flailing Swipe, Apocalypse. We're going to see the Isolation coming out from Dahaka and the Leaping Strike, trying to get that extra burst damage out. On the other side, it is going to be the Army of the Dead, Phoenix, Wailing Arrow, Sound Barrier, and the Nidus Network, looking for that global pressure here for Obsidian.
Yeah, and speaking of these ganks on Zagara and blowing up these tanks, I mean, that is a lot of the power of the Diablo in the right hands. He can make that kill confirm from quite a distance away and not give you time to react, and on faster targets like Lucio, you can't dodge it.
And wait, baiting in the side of Chromie's Cronies. They do eventually get him in, but the rotation is huge here. Enigmatic gonna leap over and get the kill onto Lucio, and all of a sudden the side of Chromie's Cronies splitting up, and they do actually get the return kill onto the Stukov, but Gregornaut is gonna go down. Enigmatic actually taking a ton of harass from Obsidian, so they're gonna have to actually walk away from Zagara and the power of these Khazra spear throwers. But we are going to see the side of Modo ultimately win that with a 2 for 3. But both teams going to start to rotate towards this middle shrine, and King Dingo going to get it started off first.
Yeah, and that was a surprisingly close team fight considering how much of Chromie's Cronies comp is put into the macro game instead. But they're able to still take a 2 for 3, not able to get enough of pressure on the board to go after the altar afterwards, but settling for the Merc camp instead, trying to get some structure damage, and now they're going to try to delay or even take this shrine for themselves.
Yeah, they will come in, but 31-4 right now over to the side of Modo, so they know that they do not have to rush here. They do have the Splintered Spear from Enigmatic. They have a lot of potential damage with the Cocktail and the Fire Stomp to be able to steal a few of these away. But the side of Chromie's Cronies not going to make it easy. Dragon King, however, going in maybe a little bit too deep, not being able to get the support needed from the Lucio. We will see the Sound Barrier coming out, but that's just kind of a disengaging tool, if anything else. Helps them get out here, and we will see Modo picking up this Punisher, Mortar Punisher, walking down the mid lane here.
Yeah, and you could see what the thought process was there. We're probably not going to get the shrine, given that there you have 30 minions up on us. But let's buy time. Let Zagara get some split soak, get us some XP, get some structure damage, and we'll be good to go. But Modo has Dahaka soaking a lane as well. So the XP advantage really isn't going anywhere. And on top of that, Modo's still getting the shrine, the Punisher. They're taking a fort with it. They're about to be on keep wall. Definitely looking very, very hairy for Chromie's Cronies right now.
Yeah, they do have a lot of good damage, like you mentioned earlier, to be able to clear up this Punisher. And, actually, when you look at the comp, there's not a whole lot of siege damage over on the side of Modo. But they will be able to get a little bit of this front wall. They get the mid-keep down. Level 16 now in here for Modo. So the world is kind of their oyster, and they're going to go ahead and paint the map red just by starting on this camp invasion here in the top.
Yeah, and it's never good when you have your camps invaded by the other team. You know, it's always resources taken away from you. But especially when you're playing a more macro-oriented build where you don't want to be team fighting, you're trying to use mercs to control the board, use wave clear to control the board. having a Merc camp taken from you, and especially the Shaman camp on Infernal Shrines, is a lot of damage to your strategy.
Yeah, it just doesn't allow you to push very far out of these. I feel like any time that we've seen Obsidian try and split push, it just hasn't gone well. You know, King Dingo rotates, they get the pick, or they start a big team fight, and you're right. The strategy here that seemed to be coming out from Chromie's Cronies just not working out for them so far.
Yeah, and they've gotten some successes. I mean, they've managed to get the wall in mid. They've managed to get the whole fort bot. But even when they did, when they got those advantages on the board, they were losing something somewhere else. And speaking of losing something, Kael'thas gets called to the charge, nearly instantly deleted. Arthas is soon to follow, and already team fight going very well for Modo.
Yeah, nice turn there by Modo. They were starting to rotate out towards that mid to try and clear out that mid camp, but they find themselves a Kael'thas in the bushes and decide to go ahead and take him out for good measure. We do see the level 4 talent being finished here for Stukov, so Mini Ancestral is now going to be available for Savo, and they will go ahead and rotate here in the top after getting those 2 picks, get themselves the first keep of the game. I do like the rotation here from Chromie's Cronies to put the Zag out to start getting some map pressure. It's at least going to give them something to try and lean on going in towards this end game.
Yeah, definitely going to get them some damage on this middle fort here before Modo shows up. And, you know, they were able to get all 3 of the Khazra camps in mid and bot, but at the same time losing the keep for it. And that's been kind of the theme of this game, is every time Chromie's Cronies is getting somewhere, it's because they're losing something somewhere else. They need to try to turn this game and start getting advantages that they're not paying for elsewhere.
Yeah, and you can make trades, especially on a big map like this, but you just want them to be good trades, and so far it just doesn't seem like it has been for Chromie's Cronies. But Enigmatic with a huge leap to get out of this gank attempt. We do have the rest of the team rotating down. Wait will start to take a little bit of poke damage, but as soon as Chromie's Cronies see the rotation in here, they're trying to back out, but Kael'thas caught out a little bit too far, gets completely blown up, and that's going to be another pick, 13-3 on the kill count right now in favor of Modo.
Yeah, Modo definitely taking advantage of their more, you know, pick out and kill oriented comp. That's getting them a lot of their advantages this game. They have control over the shrine again, and there's no reason to think they're going to lose it at any point. So we're going to see another Punisher on the board headed towards Cronies keeps at this point, and it's going to be quite stressful for Chromie's Cronies trying to defend this.
Meanwhile, we do see Obsidian trying to split push, trying to get them some sort of XP gain in that top lane. Actually, we are going to see the Dahaka rotating up to push that back out. But right now, both teams just trying to control their respective points. Chromie's Cronies trying to rotate around and get the wave clear, but ultimately 39. They are going to stall this out, which is going to allow them to get a little extra wave clear, push in a little bit on this, but most importantly, get towards that level 20, because they want to make this final push with that 20 advantage.
Yeah, and you can see Chromie's Cronies knows they need to make a move here, because if they let Modo get 20 and push in with this Punisher, it could be game over. And right away, Sylvanas getting pulled off the board, Lucio soon to follow.
Yeah, and that's exactly what Chromie's Cronies needed to do, was to go in and force a fight. Unfortunately, I don't think they have a great team fight and straight up, 5v5 team fighting. That's not really what their comp is built to do here. And now that most of the big power spikes have been picked up by Modo, we're starting to see them really struggle. We will see Cordona flipped around by Diablo. He has finished. He has gotten that double charge rolling now. And we will see the Punisher coming out as well. Arcane Punisher as they push through the bottom with 20. And this could be the beginning into the end here for game number 2. And possibly a domination here for Modo.
Yeah, and really unfortunate as well for Chromie's Cronies that it was an Arcane Punisher. The worst kind of Punisher to have to be defending against. Just puts up easily the most damage. Very dangerous for heroes as well. So it's going to be very effective for Modo pushing in, and they're just going right past the keep and looking for kills. They figure they get somebody off the board, it's going to be that much easier to melt the keep and get on the way.
Yeah, definitely the keep is going down, but the Punisher still at 60% health as it starts to work on the shields here. We will see the charge in onto Arthas. the sound barrier going to come out, but actually it doesn't quite reach Dragon King, so he's still going to be thrown around and be dealt a ton of damage. The shields are down. Gregornaut is going to fall on the back end. Cordona soon after. Dragon King taking a ton of damage from those Archaean rings, and the side of Modo going to turn to the core, win themselves game number 2 and the series here. Domination by Modo here on Infernal Shrines.
Yeah, and Modo just seemed to take control of this series from game 1 and just never really let it go. Always seemed to be in control of the board, in control of rotations, lane pressure, merc camps, just always seemed to have a plan that was ready to go and ready to mess with whatever Cronies was trying to do at the time.
Yeah, 19-3 here. Modo able to take themselves a big win. So we will try and set up a quick interview with the team captains, possibly 1 or 2 members here of Modo. So let's give me a second here just to go ahead and reach out to these guys, and we'll get them on in here. All right, invite sent. All right, so looking at some of the talents here in this game number 2, anything that surprised you? Pretty standard.
I don't
cocktail.
recall seeing anything totally out of the usual. The only thing I saw that was a little unusual was maybe the Merc Queen pickup on Talent Tier 1. But given the composition they were running, it totally made sense. I mean, they wanted to try to play the macro, use Merc camps to get value, so obviously you'd want them, hitting harder when you do get them onto a fort. Otherwise, I don't recall seeing anything that stood out too much to me.
Yeah, everything looked pretty much standard. No weird heroics. Kind of what we expected with the Nidus network and that split pressure idea in general here.
Yeah, and Nidus Network always, kind of the expected pick on Zagara. You don't see Maul very much anymore. I remember back when Maul was popular, a long time ago, but Nidus Network just a lot of value nowadays.
All right, so let's go ahead and jump up to lobby 1. We got Savo and Enigmatic with us here. How's it going, guys? How you guys feeling?
It's going well. How you guys doing?
Good. Just a nice light night of casting, and looked like you guys were pretty much in control of both of those games. How did you guys feel about it?
We felt good. We got kind of what we wanted in the drafts. We talked about it beforehand going in, what we wanted to ban and what we were going to try to get them to bait out for their bans, and ended up working out the way that we wanted to, and we knew that we wanted to come in playing very aggressive. So I think we executed where we had to tonight.
Very nice. So yeah, I was looking at the scoreboard a little bit for Div A before this match, and it seemed like both teams, really, it felt like you both really needed a domination. So how are you feeling coming out of this one as you continue forward here in Div A for the rest of the NGS season?
We feel pretty good. I mean, in our first match, I think we've only played 2 now in our first one. I think we played, forget the team name we played against, but they were pretty strong teams. I think it was Caliber, and we just messed ourselves up a lot in draft there. This time we just stuck to just what is meta, what's good, and what we're comfortable with, and obviously it turned out a lot better for us.
Yeah, I think that really works out quite a lot. Consort, do you have any questions or anything?
Yeah, actually, I do. The first game, game 1, we had Lucio hit the board fairly early, and going later on in the draft, you guys still opted into the Lunara, despite the fact that a lot of people consider Lunara to be less effective into the Lucio. I was curious, is that just more because Lunara was a comfort? Was it more of a draft synergy? Or do you not agree as much with the Lucio being, counter to the Lunara damage.
We'll let our Lucio Master take that question.
I'm definitely against having Lucio counter. I definitely don't think it's true in the sense where Lunara can put up a lot of damage, and once she hits that 10 spike, she's got burst, which is, Lucio can't really heal through that too well. So once you get there, that's where it all changes, and then even later game, she just keeps bursting through it, and Lucio can't out heal it.
Yeah, I think we were going for more of a burst there. So yes, in theory with the heal over time versus Lunara's damage over time, it should work. But we were going for a very bursty kind of damage-based leaping strike Lunara, which Enigma was very, very comfortable with. So I think that was more what we were going for that game.
Yeah, quite a lot of cool dodges there too with the leaping strike. The gank attempt on bot in particular, proccing that rotation in and then just a blow up on Kael'thas. I felt like your guys' the big advantage you guys had was just really strong rotational ability to be able to really control the map and counter that more like split push strategy that they were trying to go with there in that game too.
Yeah, I think we had Enigma be our kind of like rotator that game, made sure that he kept an eye on that Zag, so Zag was never able to really dominate. So we knew as long as we keep Zag at bay, we were going to have stronger team fight. They had 2 specialists, so there's no way that they could have competed with us in a straight team fight. So we just keep them at bay, get to do well on XP, and the team fight should be ours. So that was at least our strategy going in. I don't know, Enigma, do you think anything else on that, or kind of similar?
I really do feel like both of our frontliners, our tanks, played very well. We had weight on the Dahaka. He was getting really good rotations in with his Dahaka today, I feel. He burrowed in when we needed him. We were looking for a fight. He burrows in, and we were ahead in the fight. We had a 5v4. So I feel like he did very good at that, and I feel like we just targeting really well. We were focusing on the same person, blowing them up.
Yep.
Yeah, weight with some huge rotations in there. So, any other big shout outs you guys want to make tonight with your big win?
I would definitely like to make a shout out. I'd like to make a shout out to our sister team, Modo Miracle, in Div C. They're turning up right now, so I hope that they can continue their win streaks and stay strong. They've been a pretty cool group of guys. I've had the pleasure of starting to meet a couple of them now, so big shout out to them, and obviously a big shout out to all of my teammates here who played today, and Strange Goat, who's one of our main 6 here who didn't play tonight.
All right, well, congratulations on the win, guys. It looks like you guys have one more match up this week against Macaroni and Cheese. So we'll looking out for that one. Maybe we'll see another Sylvanas. Who knows? It's so cheesy.
Who knows? Who knows? It could come along the way.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Congratulations, and just enjoy it.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, and we both appreciate the cast here from you guys. Appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good one.
You too. All right. So let's go ahead and jump back up and scroll. There we go. All right, so that is going to be the end of our first set tonight. We got double header action coming at you. So we should be back in just a little while. We got 9:15 start time, so we're going to go ahead and restart the stream and get it rolling again because we have a B West division match. It's going to be Drop Dead Gorgeous versus Lit Unknown, and that'll be coming up in, we'll be restarting the stream in about 20 minutes. So, Consort, thank you very much for joining me for this one. I forget, are you going to be joining me for the next one as well?
I believe so, unless there's somebody else in line who wants to take my spot, but if not, I would be happy to join you for the next one.
All right, well then we'll see you all in just a bit. And we'll be back here for the Nexus Gaming Series. I am Jayzon, and we'll see you guys in just a few moments.